afternoon, everyone. Today is Friday, October 3rd, 2025. I'm Dr. Yamonja Smalls, Director of Professional Development for Maryland Department of Health's Developmental Disabilities Administration. We welcome you to today's Waiver Amendment 2025 LTSS Maryland Updates webinar. If you would like to use closed captioning so you can read what is being said, click this button. Sometimes the transcription's not exact, but it's pretty close. All attendees are currently in listen-only mode, and your mics and cameras are turned off. Today's presentation is available in the handout section. Click here where you see the paperclip to download the presentation. If you have a question and you'd like us to read it and answer it, click here where you see the question mark to add your question. If you would like to ask your question aloud during our comment section, please click this button to raise your hand. We will invite you to unmute during our public comment section of today's presentation. Now, before beginning our meeting, we also want to ensure civility for all of our meetings. The free expression of diverse viewpoints is a fundamental value of our group. The freedom carries the responsibility to engage respectfully, which means treating one another with dignity and respect and good faith. Uncivil behavior, disruptive conduct, abusive language, threats, or harassment will not be tolerated and may lead to being excused from the meeting. Thank you for helping to keep this productive and comfortable for everyone. And now I'd like to introduce Rhonda Workman, Director of Federal Programs, to begin today's webinar. Good afternoon, Rhonda.
Good afternoon, Dr. Smalls. Thank you so much. And good afternoon to everybody who's joined us today. As Dr. Smalls mentioned, my name is Rhonda Workman. I am the Director of Federal Programs. And on behalf of the Developmental Disabilities Administration, I want to welcome you to DDA's Waiver Amendment 2025 LTSS Maryland Updates webinar. LTSS Maryland is the state's data management system for home and community-based programs like the Community Pathways Waiver Program. Today, we will be sharing information related to recent enhancements and updates to support the amendment. This webinar is geared towards direct users of LTSS Maryland, including coordinators of community services and DDA licensed and DDA certified providers under the Provider Managed Service Delivery model. The DDA has recently completed a series of other webinars to explain upcoming changes and answer questions. These webinars were for families, family supports and community supports waiver participants related to the Medicaid notice, waiver changes in you, which was an overview of the various changes and how they may impact participants, self-directed service updates, which was specifically targeted to the updates associated with self-direction, provider opportunities and requirements, which was focused on our providers and those new opportunities. And on Wednesday, we conducted our new and updated forms related to self-directed services. Later in our presentation, we'll have a slide that includes the links to these presentations and the recorded webinars that are available now today on the website. Are also available, the webinars are on the DDA Maryland YouTube channel playlist, and we are working to get the webinar from Wednesday, and after the conclusion of today, we'll work to get today's webinar also uploaded on the system. After each section of topic that we talk today, we will pause to answer a few questions in the question box and take a couple of live questions specific to the topic just shared. We ask that coordinators of community services and DDA providers submit questions during these sections. At the conclusion of our presentation, there will be additional time for questions from the general public about LTSS Maryland or the topics today. To support the opportunity to ask a question, when called on, each person can ask one question. Additional questions can be asked by submitting in the question box or raising your hand again. I'm now going to turn it over to Megan so she can introduce herself and we can kick off the webinar. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Rhonda. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide, Dr. Smith? Thank you. So my name is Megan. I am the LTSSMaryland DDA Module Operations Manager. And as Rhonda said, today's webinar will be explaining some important updates to LTSSMaryland, which have been made to improve the day-to-day operations of coordinators of community services and DDA licensed or certified providers. These system enhancements were made to align with the upcoming DDA-operated Medicaid waiver amendment and to improve information sharing and document uploads. Next slide, please.
Megan, could you review the agenda with us for today? Can we go to slide 9 and you review the agenda with us?
Sure.
Thank you.
So today, here's the brief overview of our agenda. We will be reviewing the waiver application and current enrollment conversions, person-centered plan conversions, person-centered plan updates, which includes some self-direction updates as well as assistive technology. We will also be reviewing the authorization to participate form, the priority category assessment form, the level of care form, and some new client attachment categories. Next slide, please. And the next slide. So first, we're going to be reviewing the waiver application and current enrollment conversions. All individuals that have a pending application for community supports, oh, I'm sorry, next slide, please. All individuals that have a pending application for community supports or family supports waivers will have their application converted to a community pathways application. The converted application will pick up where the old application left off. Next slide, please. For people with waiver applications in progress, authorization to participate forms and financial eligibility determination forms will be converted to community pathways forms. The next slide will show an example of how the coordinators of community services will be able to see this update. Next slide, please. This is a screenshot of an in-progress ATP questionnaire for community supports being converted to an in-progress ATP questionnaire for community pathways. The blue icon in the status column will show the user a note stating that the document is in its current status due to the DDA waiver consolidation. Next slide, please. This is a screenshot of an in-progress financial eligibility determination form for community supports being converted to an in-progress financial eligibility determination form for community pathways. Next slide. All individuals that are enrolled in community supports or family supports waivers will have their special program code or their enrollment ended on October 5th, 2025, and converted to the Community Pathways Special Program Code starting October 6th, 2025. Next slide, please. Everyone currently enrolled in community supports and family supports waivers will also have their authorization to participate form and their financial eligibility determination form converted to community pathways as well. The next slide will show an example of coordinators of community services being able to view this update. Next slide. This is a screenshot of a completed financial eligibility determination form for community supports being converted to a completed financial eligibility determination form for community pathways. And here we can see that the blue eye icon shows us a note stating that the form is in this current status due to the DDA waiver consolidation. Next slide, please. And we will pause for questions.
Thank you, Megan. So if you have a question related to the information that Megan just shared with us, please put it in the question box or raise your hand. We are getting some questions, so we're answering a few of those that are not topic specific, and a few of the other general ones will come back at the end. One person is asking about the financial overall decision view that we were talking about, Megan, and specifically wanted to know if providers would be given access to that. I believe at this time, there are no plans for access to the financial overall decision related to LTSS, but providers do get information in provider portal when an individual is enrolled in the program. Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
No, I think that covers it.
Thank you. All right, I don't see any other questions related to this or a hands raised, so let's go to the next topic, please.
Next, we will be going over the person-centered plan conversions. Next slide, please. So all currently enrolled community supports and family supports participants that had an approved community supports or family supports person-centered plan will have that person-centered plan changed to a community pathway person-centered plan. All community supports and family supports person-centered plans that were being actively developed by the coordinator of community services will be changed to a community pathways person-centered plan. Next slide, please. The community pathways person-centered plans will be initial plans because this will be the participant's first person-centered plan in their new waiver program. Community supports and family supports program types will not be available program selections for initial PCPs after October 6, 2025. The next few slides we will review will be showing some examples or scenarios of person-centered plans being converted in LTSS Maryland. Next slide, please. This scenario shows a revised plan for family supports converted to an initial plan for community pathways with no gap in service authorization. The family supports revised PCP received an end date of October 5th, 2025, and the community pathways initial PCP received an effective date of October 6th, 2025. Next slide, please. This scenario shows a community supports initial plan that was approved but not active yet, converted to a community pathways initial approved plan. The effective date of the community pathways initial PCP was copied from the community supports plan, which is why it is an effective date of October 15th, 2025. In this scenario, LTSS would convert the community supports plan into a community pathways plan to cover the gap from October 6, 2025 to October 15th, 2025, so that the participant would not have any disruption in services. Next slide, please. This scenario shows a community supports annual plan that was converted to a community pathways initial plan. Here we can see that there is no gap. The community supports plan received an end date of October 5th, 2025, and the community pathways plan has an effective date of October 6th, 2025. Next slide, please. This scenario shows a community supports initial plan that was approved but not active yet, was converted to community pathways initial approved plan. Here we see that the community supports initial plan received an end date of October 5th, 2025, and the community pathways initial plan received an effective date of October 6th, 2025. Next slide, please. This is an example of what the conversion may look like in the provider portal. Here we can see that the community supports auto extend PCP was converted to a community pathways initial PCP, and that the initial community pathways PCP has an effective date of October 6, 2025. Next slide, please. This is a second example of what the conversion might look like in the provider portal. Here we can see that the family supports annual PCP was converted to a community pathways initial PCP. The family supports plan has an end date of October 5th, 2025, and the community pathways initial PCP has an effective date of October 6, 2025. Next slide, please. Sometimes coordinators of community services will create a person-centered plan without setting an effective date or entering any information into the plan. During the person-centered plan conversion on October 6, 2025, community supports and family supports person-centered plans with blank effective dates will be discarded and will not be converted to community pathways person-centered plans. Since these plans were never authorized or active, there is no impact to services. Next slide, please. Here's a screenshot of an example of a community supports PCP that did not have an effective date was discarded. And the blue eye icon tells the user that this plan was discarded due to the DDA waiver consolidation. Next slide, please. Individuals who had their approved community supports or family supports person-centered plans changed to a community pathways person-centered plan may notice a short delay in LTSS Maryland seeing the plan as active. There is a nightly job within LTSS Maryland that runs to update person-centered plans as active based on a combination of person-centered plan effective date and overall decision form status. Next slide, please. This nightly job will take approximately from October 6th to October 8th, 2025 to catch up and complete in order to tag all appropriate converted Community Pathways person-centered plans as active. Please note that there is no action for coordinators of community services or DDA providers to take. Providers can continue to bill, and they may notice some of their service activities tagged with an exception due to lack of active person-centered plan, but those will automatically clear themselves once the nightly person-centered plan activation job catches up on October 8th, 2025. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Megan. We've got several questions. So let's go through some of these. Is there anything a coordinator of community services needs to do as a result of the in-progress community pathway status for either the forms that you were showing initially? I think that was related to the authorization to participate and the financial determination. So in those cases, the CCSs would not need to take any action. Is that correct?
No, the CCSs do not have to do anything for those forms.
Okay. Next question is how long will it take for the approval for the overall decision to take effect in LTSS Maryland? So a couple things to share because we're getting a couple questions in the question box. Some people may already start to see in LTSS Maryland that individuals are going to start to show up as being enrolled in the DRW program, which is the code that's used in the systems for community pathways. That started happening this week. So if you're going into the system and you look at eligibility, enrollment for community supports and family supports participants, you'll start to see that the program enrollment for community supports and family supports will be ending on October 5th, and then it'll show enrollment in DRW, which stands for Community Pathways, effective 10/6. So there will be no gap in their services. It's just shutting down the family supports and community supports programs and automatically enrolling them in the Community Pathways Waiver program. So those actions are being taken, and then over the weekend, all the overall decision forms, all the PCPs, all the forms and applications that are in various status, including pending regional office reviews, et cetera, will all be converted over to Community Pathways ones. So no action needed there. Those things will automatically happen from that perspective. Just going down as the questions are coming. Some providers are interested in sharing interest in being able to have more views within LTSS, similar to what the CCSs can see. And I know there are others on the call today, individuals and families that would also like to have access and view to various information. We are absolutely open to supporting and having further discussions related to access to the system and prioritizing that work and cost associated with expansion of those. So thank you for your interest in that, and we look forward to further partnering with you to talk about it. We have a question about for individuals waiting for the eligibility determination division approval for the Community Pathways Waiver, will their application still need approval? The answer is yes. Any pending application, whether it's family supports, community supports, or Community Pathways Waiver today, will still need to be reviewed and approved. That's the same for person-centered plans, all our forms and packets. So if it's in a pending status or a review status, all those actions and reviews will still need to happen, and they'll need to be approved. What Megan shared with you today was examples that plans that have already been approved are going to be converted to community pathway plans, initial plans, and will be in an approved status. So there's no action needed by the CCS or the provider to take related to those. Just going through a few more of the questions. Megan, if a converted plan is in an initial plan, will that create a new PCP date? Will the PCP date stay the same, or does it change when we're creating these new initial plans?
The annual plan date will remain the same.
Thank you, Megan. For in-progress PCPs, will the status remain the same? Example, pending regional office program review, stays pending regional office review, clarification request, stays clarification request, etc.
Yes, the plan will be in the same workflow status that it was in its other program type.
Okay. If a person already has an approved initial PCP for a community pathways waiver application, will that plan become active, or will the community supports PCP convert? So I think that they're kind of mixing it, but if you had a community supports PCP that was approved, Megan, with the conversion, it creates a community pathways person-centered plan, and that would be approved and active if that was the status of the community supports plan. Is that true?
So if a person has an active community supports person-centered plan, the active person-centered plan would be converted to a community pathways PCP. And if the inactive community pathways person-centered plan was for a waiver packet that was currently under review, that would depend on the approval of the waiver application.
Okay. Megan, will the system automatically discard the in-progress plans?
Yes. In-progress plans will be discarded and automatically converted to in-progress community pathways plans.
And Megan, when changed to October 6th, does this change the person's annual plan date to 10/6?
No, everyone's annual plan date will also be copied, so they will keep their same annual plan date.
And Megan, will all the services on the old waiver plan automatically reflect in the new community pathways waiver plan if the CCS is in the process of creating the plan now? Can you talk about whether one has been, submitted or created, and when they'll have to create one versus one that's to the regional office?
So all active person-centered plans will be converted with their current services, and all in-progress person-centered plans will be converted, and they will have the same services that were in the in-progress person-centered plan. The new PCP that is created by LTSS will be in the same workflow status as the one that was in progress previously. So if that plan was pending regional review, the converted person-centered plan would also be pending regional review. Or if it was in clarification request, the new person-centered plan would be in clarification request, and so on and so forth.
Great, thank you. And then the last question, then we're going to move to the next section. We'll come back to some more of these questions. Megan, we shared a slide related to plans that have a blank effective date and they're being discarded. And so when there's no effective date associated with that plan, they're being discarded because these are plans that may have been started by the CCS, but they've never been completed or submitted, and there was no effective date in it. Sometimes coordinators may start to create a plan, something changes, and then they create a different plan, maybe for a different program and such. So these are just plans in the system that have not been completed, have not been submitted, have no effective date. And so those plans are the plans that will be discarded because they're just kind of hanging out there. There's nothing going on with them. So any plans that are in any other status that has an effective date, those are the ones that are being converted. But these plans that may have just been started but there's no information in it, there's no effective date, those are the plans that she was referring to on slide 30 that will be discarded. So thank you for all those questions. Keep them coming. Let's go to the next section.
Hi, I'm Linda Yale. I am the Deputy Director at the Western Region Office, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some person-centered plan updates. Next slide, please. So the day-to-day administrative support services provide assistance with household management and scheduling medical appointments. The DDA operated Medicaid waiver amendment includes a new drop-down service for day-to-day administrative supports under the self-directed service model only. Under the DDA self-directed model, if a participant chooses to hire a day-to-day administrative support, the coordinator of community service will now select it as its own service in the service authorization section of the person-centered plan. Up to 10 hours per month can be requested in the person-centered plan service authorization section. The service must be approved in the person-centered plan. Next slide, please. The self-directed service decision tree must be filled out and submitted with the person-centered plan. This new form helps the person and their team decide what kinds of help they may need from a day-to-day administrative support. The total number of hours being requested should be included in the person-centered plan service authorization. Next slide, please. So on October 6th, you will be able to see the day-to-day administrative support in the dropdown of the services in the person-centered plan. This new dropdown, when you select that the person is going to self-direct their services, will be listed under the individual and family-directed goods and services day-to-day administrative support and is able to be selected so you can enter those services. Next slide, please. This is a view of the unit calculation tool that's available after you've selected that service and moved to the next screen. Next slide, please. After you've selected the units and you go to the next section, you will see in the service authorizations section of the service authorization the units that you have selected for each month, and that will be viewable through LTSS. Next slide. The day-to-day administrative supports will only be available to participants who are 18 years of age or older and currently unable to do the task independently. The new day-to-day administrative supports is paid for through the Medicaid waiver and cannot be covered using cost savings. If the participant is currently receiving day-to-day administrative supports, they can continue to do so in the way they are receiving them currently. At their next plan year, they will then go ahead and complete this process and put it into the service authorization. The updates to the day-to-day administrative supports will apply in your next person-centered plan. Next slide, please. If the day-to-day administrative supports are being requested in a person-centered plan that is being submitted on or after October 6th, The decision tree form must be completed and uploaded into the Documents section of the Person-Centered Plan. The document should be uploaded using the format with the name of the form, the individual's name, and the date. For example, it would say Decision Tree, Brown Anna, 11/13/25. Next slide, please. The next update is related to new assistive technology monthly service fee. Next slide. The assistive technology supports participants to stay safe and maintain or improve their independent skills. So what's new? We now are able to pay for the monthly service fee for assistive technology and include that in our Medicaid waiver. For example, if a technology device has a monthly subscription or a service fee, that can now be paid for through our waiver. This does not include internet fees. Next slide, please. When completing the service authorization for a PCP, in the self-directed services, you will have the drop-down menu and you can select the new assistive technology monthly fee. And I'm sorry, this is available through both service types, our provider type and our self-directed services. Next slide, please. Again, this is the view of the unit calculation tool, and it will give you a description of your monthly service fee, and then you enter in what that fee is for each month. If there are months that there is no fee, you would leave those ones blank. Next slide, please. And then the system would calculate the units needed for each month and give you a total for the service. Next slide, please. This is what the assistive technology monthly service fee will look like in the provider portal. Next slide, please. Providers will have the ability to adjust, void, and resubmit the billing claims, just like they do with any other service. Next slide, please. Some assistive technology reminders. The coordinator of community service can add the monthly service fee during the next revised or annual person-centered plan. The service providers will send separate bills for assistive technology, devices, and equipment for the monthly service fees. The personal emergency response systems are no longer covered under assistive technology. The coordinator of community service will support the participant with applying to the Community First Choice program and requesting the personal emergency response systems, or help them find another way to pay for this device. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Linda. A couple questions specific to day-to-day administrative supports and assistive technology. One coordinator is asking, just wants to confirm that going forward for people new asking for the day-to-day administrative supports and people during their annual plan process who maybe currently have it, that the information about the day-to-day support, administrative support, needs to be noted in the outcome sections and the service authorization section. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. And then Linda, if someone's getting more than the 10 hours of day-to-day administrative supports now, prior to October 6th, what does that mean for them? Can you remind us what that reminder was?
Yes, so in our waiver, we have allowed for transitions. So your current plan will allow you to continue as your services are currently listed. And when you do a revised plan or your new annual plan, then you will move to the 10 hours per month.
Great, thank you. Just looking at a couple other. Some people are asking about different types of personal emergency response, specifically life alert. So please reach out to your coordinator of community services to support you with exploring and transitioning as applicable to the community first choice personal emergency response systems. Some people are asking about updated rate charts for day-to-day. Please refer to the self-directed services manual. Okay. Person was asking, how do we deal with a gap in coverage for personal response system until CFC is available? We would need to coordinate with the Community First Choice program. So we would continue to support the services through the end of the plan year. And so we really want to be focusing on those individuals who may have a personal emergency response system. Please reach out to your regional office if you need additional assistance. If we could, Dr. Smalls, take a couple of the hands. We have Anne Marie first. So Anne, if you would like to ask a question about the LTSS system updates related to day-to-day or monthly assistive technology service fee, we'd welcome your question.
Anne Marie, you should have gotten a notification to unmute yourself. Looks like she dropped off. Jasmine Thomas is the next person.
Great. Jasmine, do you have a question for us related to day-to-day and assistive technology LTSSMaryland system updates?
No, that was a mistake. I'm sorry.
All right.
No, that was a mistake. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today. Dr. Smalls, anybody else?
Yes, we have Mary Beth Jancic, and I apologize, I'm pronouncing your last name incorrectly.
That's okay. I'm Polish. Everybody butchers it. Not a problem. My question is about the day-to-day tasks. I understand that after October 6th, the hours for a new PCP go to 10, but if you have it currently approved in your PCP, you can keep what you have. Does that include the tasks that are listed in the waiver amendment? As far as, are those tasks still allowed if they're already authorized in the PCP until the new PCP?
Yes.
All right,
Thank you for sharing your question. Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next section, please, Dr. Smalls. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Emma, and I'm DDA's Division Chief of Eligibility. Next slide, please. New authorization to participate form type, which is address change. The purpose of this update is to streamline the process for having participants' addresses updated and to reduce any system-related issues with incorrect address records. When a participant has a change in address, LTSSMaryland Client Profile Demographic section must be updated for all participants. What's new is that an address change authorization to participate form must now be submitted for Medicaid waiver participants. Next slide, please. This screenshot shows the updated form type in the drop-down menu, as well as a snapshot of the address change module in the form. Coordinators of community services must navigate to the Authorization to Participate module and click on the Add button in the right-hand corner and select ATP type, address change. Next slide, please. As shown on this screenshot here, coordinators of community services must navigate to that Authorization to Participate module and complete the form by selecting the previous and current or new address from the drop-down menu and complete it as shown in this image. Next slide, please. Coordinators of community services, DDA staff, and the Eligibility Determination Division will now be able to see this new type of form on the Authorization to Participate report. Users can navigate to the report section in LTSSMaryland and select the ATP questionnaire summary report. Once selected, users select the address change drop-down option under the ATP type and select View to view the report. Next slide, please. As shown on this slide and discussed during the previous slide, once selected, users select the address change drop-down option under the ATP type and select View. The report will show ATP type, status, and date that it was completed. Next slide, please. Coordinators of community services, DDA staff, and Eligibility Determination Division will now be able to see the new type of form in the ATP report. They will see the summary report that shows the number of individuals with all ATP statuses as shown in the screenshot. Next slide, please. Users can now click on the number on the summary page as shown on the previous slide to see a detailed list of individuals with the address changed ATP questionnaire. Once selected, users can select the address drop-down option under the ATP type and select View. The report will show the ATP type, the status, and the date it was completed and/or modified. Next slide, please. I'll turn this over to Rhonda for questions.
Thank you, Alma. First question, will alerts be provided to prompt the ATP for the address change? I think they're asking if the coordinator would get an alert if an ATP address change is needed. I do not think that the system does that. The ATP address change would be created by the coordinator of community services, which then will issue an alert to EDD. Is that correct? Do you have any additional information to share related to that?
No, that is correct. Once the coordinator of community services submits that ATP, it will trigger an alert to the Eligibility Determination Division for review and update.
Great, thank you. And we've got a couple other questions, and Debbie, you might have a thought on this too, but when an address change occurs, is a revised person-centered plan needed?
So a revised person-centered plan would need to occur if an individual was moving from one licensed site to another, but the authorization to participate will allow us to address anybody else's address change.
Great. Someone had asked, does this form need to be submitted with the annual plan if there is not an address change? So again, the address change authorization to participate form is used when there is a change of address. If there's no change of address, you would not use the ATP form. So it would not be needed for an annual plan if there's no change of address. But as Debbie said, if a person is moving from one licensed site to another, a revised plan would be needed. And any address change, regardless if you're in a licensed site or not, should be submitted with an ATP address change and also the demographics updated. Let's see. Someone's excited about the address change ATP and had a question. Is this for all community pathway recipients or just for those with an HO1 coverage group, Medicaid through HCBS waivers? Is it for only specific Medicaid coverage groups or all people, regardless of coverage group, when their address change?
It is for all Medicaid recipients. It doesn't matter what coverage group they belong to.
Great, thank you. Question, when an address change occurs, is the ATP address change form completed? Answer, yes, it's completed by the coordinator of community services. Related to that, Debbie, some people are asking, would you also update the community settings questionnaire for residential? Answer would be yes, right, Debbie? Anytime there's a change in that residential site, you would want to complete the community settings questionnaire.
Absolutely. The CCS would want to, observe the site and complete the questionnaire to make sure it meets the person's needs.
Great. Just another note that if a supported living arrangement also changed, we would also need a revised PCP. There was a question that whether or not CCS would get a prompt to complete the ATP form after they update the address in the other section of LTSS. Megan, I do not believe that if they update the address in the demographics that they get a prompt or alert to do an ATP form. Is that correct?
They do not get an alert to do the ATP form if they update the client demographics, no.
Yeah, so it's something we could look at in terms of giving you an alert just to remind you that you've completed both, or having a pop-up when you update an address in one section to ask. So we'll look to see if we can add some additional alerts or functionality or pop-up screens to support you. But the key thing here for coordinators of community services and providers, anytime a person's address has changed, please notify the coordinator of community services. Coordinator of community services, you need to make the update within the demographics of LTSSMaryland and complete the authorization to participate address change drop-down option. And if it's a licensed residential site or supported living, you also need to complete a revised person-centered plan and complete the community settings questionnaire. Debbie, did I miss any other updates that CCSs would need to take? If you're talking, Debbie, we can't hear you. We may have lost Debbie's connectivity, so we'll come back to that. So let's go to the next section.
Thank you, Rhonda. Next slide, please. We're going to be talking about the priority category assessment. Coordinators of community services and regional office eligibility staff will now have the ability to indicate interest in self-direction on the priority category assessment form. Next slide, please. Selecting self-direction on the priority category assessment form will create a flag on the DDA waiting list so that these individuals can be easily identified. This flag will allow DDA staff to easily identify individuals who may need to complete the new training requirements for self-direction. Next slide, please. This slide shows updates to the priority category assessment. The image on the left is what the current priority category assessment form looks like in LTSSMaryland. The image on the right shows the updated form after the system update. Next slide, please. This slide shows the drop-down menu where the CCSs will select which service delivery model the participant is interested in. Next slide, please. Now we're going to talk about the level of care form updates. What's new? The service delivery model question will now be removed from the initial level of care form and the recertification of need form, as shown in the image here. The first image on the left shows the current level of care form, and the image on the right shows the updated form. Next slide, please. What else is new? The information note within the signature section will be updated to replace the text community pathways with the term Medicaid, as shown in the image here. Next slide, please. Here are some key reminders. The level of care effective date, as shown on this slide here. The effective date of the initial level of care should reflect the same date as the date on the Medicaid waiver application, as the date the Medicaid waiver application was signed by the applicant. The end date should reflect 1 year from the date of the previous year's effective date. Please note that the service delivery model will no longer be noted. Next slide, please. This slide shows a level of care effective date for an initial level of care form and a recertification form. As you can see, the level of care effective date for the level of care recertification is a year after the previous year's effective date. Next slide, please. I'll turn this over to Rhonda for some questions.
Thank you, Alma. Question related to this section for the priority category assessments. Do the coordinators of community services need to redo all priority category assessments for all the people on the waiting list?
No, we do not require the coordinators of community services to do that.
So moving forward, right, effective on Monday, the priority category assessment will include those new options for which you would do and complete for people that you create a new priority category assessment going forward. So we're not asking you to go back and reassess everybody. This would be a new function moving forward. I do not see any other questions about priority category assessments or level of care. Oh, hang on a second. Are there changes to the level of care form that must be uploaded with the DDA level of care submission in the module? Has the form changed at this time, Alma?
No, the current form remains the same. We have not changed it.
Great, thank you. All right, we have Ashley has raised her hand. Dr. Smalls, can we see if Ashley has a question related to priority category assessments or level care forms?
This is in regards to the new PCA.
Yeah, priority category assessments. Yeah, what's your question?
Yes. So my question is, in the event that there is a change while the individual is waiting on while the individual is still on the waiting list from their intended traditional or SDS, do you need to resubmit a new priority category form, or will it just be up until the point that they are engaged in services and then we can switch it at that point? Or are we submitting one every time they decide that they're going to change the direction in which they're going to choose when they initially get in service?
What a great question, Ashley. The answer is no. The priority category assessment is a point in time, right? So what the person is interested in at that time. They may be interested in the self-directed service delivery model. They may be interested in the provider managed model, or they may not be sure which model they want to go for or interested in, and that's okay. So there's that option too. If they change their mind, you do not need to submit a new priority category assessment. When given the opportunity to apply to the waiver program, at that time, the person would then receive additional information about the models, for which then they would be making their final decision. There will be orientation, webinars and information that will be available for the self-directed service delivery model. And we're also going to be working with stakeholders to create one that will really reflect both service delivery models and options and opportunities there. And during that time, then the person would select their model, which you would indicate in the person-centered plan which model they're interested in. So again, no need to update a priority category assessment if the person changes their mind or interest after the initial submission. Thank you so much for asking your question. All right. Amma, for the example of the level of care effective date to be completed at least 364 days before the last one, the example we showed the same month and day as the one from the prior year. Can you speak to that?
Yes, we want the level of care form to be recertified annually, and that is why the date remains the same. So the only thing that will be changing will be the year.
Great, thank you. And a person was asking if they needed to complete and select a service model if someone may be considered for future needs. Again, the requirement is within the priority category assessment. So regardless of the outcome of that assessment and final determination of eligibility, that question should be asked and indicated if the person has a preference at that time. Would the CCS be able to discard a level of care with the wrong effective date in order to create a new one?
Yes, the CCSs should have the functionality to do that. If it's for an initial waiver application, the regional office will send in a clarification and the CCS would be able to correct that.
Thank you, Amma. Up, couple hands. We got, Linda, did you want to share a comment?
Yeah, I'm not sure that the CCS can discard that level of care. They may need to reach out to their regional office for assistance to discard that wrong level of care.
Great, thank you. Dr. Smalls, can we open Kiana?
Hi, my question is in regards to the PCA. So there are a few regions that require the PCA when we can't make contact with people for future needs. Do we need to select the service delivery model? Like, what's the requirement for a service delivery model selection in a PCA for somebody with a future needs? Is it going to be required or can we leave it blank?
All PCAs that are created, you should ask that question and select what the person indicates at that time. Thank you for sharing.
When we can't get in contact with them for future needs, we wouldn't be able to act if we can't get in contact with them.
If you're completing a priority category, for someone that you can't get in contact with, then you wouldn't indicate, right? You would not indicate because you couldn't contact them. You're updating them because we can't reach them anymore, right?
Right, yes.
Okay, I understand your questions, yeah. Okay. If you're not able to reach the person, then no, you wouldn't be indicating a reason. Thank you for asking that. All right. Amma, if the level care is late, does that date change?
Yes, but the CCS has the ability to update the effective dates to reflect that. So you can change the date. It just, when we measure for timeliness, it won't be considered timely.
Okay. Great. All right, let's go to the next section and we'll come back to some more questions.
Okay, so next slide, please. There have been some new and recent updates to the client attachment categories within LTSS Maryland. We wanted to review some of them with you. The DDA application. The assigned CCS agency can use this category to both upload and view documents related to the participant's application to the DDA. This category provides a better process for organizing documentation and makes it easier for the CCS to find crucial information. The DDA letters category, the assigned CCS agency can now view this client attachment category. This will give the CCSs the ability to review and consult with the participants on any recent communications they may have received. Financial documents and MA application. These two categories are for assigned CCS agencies to upload and view documents related to the medical assistance application and any supporting financial documents in order to coordinate with EDD regarding the waiver process and financial eligibility. The redetermination application category, the assigned CCS agencies can now view and upload in this client attachment category. This will give the CCSs a better ability to properly assist their participants with redetermination applications, as all of the information will be available here. The FMCS documents client attachment category will be changed and will be labeled as self-directed documentation or documents. This will broaden the scope of this category and provide CCSs a better way to organize and upload documents related to participants who are self-directing their services. And also please note that the CCS client attachment report will now include these new client attachment categories for the CCS agencies to be able to pull targeted information related to them. Next slide, please. This screenshot shows the drop-down filters users can use to view documents in each of the specific client attachment categories. We would also like to remind both providers and coordinators of community services that providers have access to upload certain client attachment areas from the provider portal, which can be very helpful during the person-centered planning and redetermination processes. Next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, there it is. This screenshot is showing the client attachment categories where coordinators of community services are able to upload files to include the DDA application, financial documents, MA application, and self-direction documents. Next slide, please. This screenshot shows the option to select the self-direction documents drop-down and should include any documentation that the FMCS agencies need to have access to. And next slide, please. And this screenshot just shows several documents which have been uploaded under the self-direction documents category to show the file name and the type. Please note that the comments section can also be used to further clarify the document. And next slide, please. And this is a screenshot of the client attachments report, which includes the 4 new DDA client attachment categories. The report can be used to show any attachments uploaded into each of the categories. And next slide, please. And a few overview reminders. We wanted to note that certain areas are used by the Eligibility Determination Division, known as EDD, to access information. With the recent updates to the system, some of the coordinators of community services process have been updated as well. It is important to remember that coordinators of community services must upload all documents within LTSS Maryland. The coordinators of community services no longer need to email the EDD division when submitting financial documents, as they can now access this information within LTSS Maryland. All financial redetermination forms should be uploaded under the redetermination application section. The Medicaid waiver application should be uploaded to the MA application category, and financial documents should be uploaded to the financial document category. Next slide, please. All self-direction related documents and forms should be uploaded to the self-direction documents category. All additional documents related to DDA eligibility should be uploaded to the DDA application category. And the DDA letters category, again, is view only for CCSs. Next slide, please. So as we've noted several times, the coordinators of community services are uploading all documents into LTSSMaryland. Provider agencies should also be uploading information such as the service implementation plans, any data such as sleep charts or participant schedules, nursing care plans, standing committee approvals, behavior support plans, and any documents to support financial redeterminations. With providers uploading information directly into LTSS, this speeds up both the PCP process, as coordinators of community services can view and download those provider documents from the provider portal, and then they can include those documents in the participant's person-centered plan. Another important use is for any provider who is the representative payee or assist participants with their Medicaid waiver redeterminations and financial information. The provider should upload the information in the provider portal and provider documents within LTSSMaryland to ensure that the coordinator of community services can then view and download that redetermination information. The coordinator of community services should then upload all of that information into the redetermination category within LTSSMaryland. This process ensures that the information is available to the eligibility determination division staff, as they are not able to view this information within the provider portal. Next slide, please. And finally, a reminder that we have established a file name format to make searching for documents easier. As noted on the slide, it is the document name, period, last name and first name, period, and then the form date. For example, orientation checklist, period, Brown Anna, period, 11/13/25. And providers should be uploading things like their service implementation plans as service implementation plan, period, Smith John, period, 10/10/2025 or 25. And next slide, please.
Thank you, Debbie. All right. A couple questions. First, let's start with the difference between a Medicaid waiver application or Medicaid application and redetermination applications. Do you want to answer that, or do you want me to have Alma answer that? Alma, do you want to answer that?
I'm sorry, can you read the question again, please?
Yep. Can you tell us the difference between the Medicaid application, right, the Medicaid waiver application, and a redetermination application, since we've got two separate categories for that? So what's the difference? What would be uploaded in one versus the other?
Thank you, Rhonda. So the Medicaid waiver application is the initial application for all new applications. And that's included in the DDA waiver application packet. The redetermination application is the application that's submitted when a person goes through the annual renewal.
Great, thank you, Alma. We had a question of whether or not the redetermination application and forms can only be uploaded by coordinators of community services. And as Debbie shared with us today, providers can also upload documents in the provider portal. And it's important that they also would include, particularly if they're the rep payee or supporting the person with the financial redetermination process, to also upload those documents. and coordinate with the coordinator of community services. They can then download those documents and put them in the LTSS client attachment to support the information and alerts going to EDD. AMA, our coordinators still uploading a REDET application financial paperwork. The financial documents are all in the REDET application dropdown.
Redetermination application should go into the redetermination section in the client attachment form. All supporting documents should be uploaded in the financial documentation section in LTSS Maryland.
So just to make sure I'm understanding, Amma, you're saying the actual application gets uploaded under the REDET application, but all supporting documents, a bank statement, a trust, an insurance, whatever, that would be uploaded under financial documents. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, great. Okay. Questions of whether providers can access client attachments. At this time, providers cannot access client attachments. They utilize the provider portal upload system. We're getting some questions about alerts. Will LTSS alert a CCS or provider when documents are uploaded? Megan, do you know that answer to that question? When documents are uploaded, I do not think that CCSs and providers are necessarily alerted, particularly if they're the ones uploading the documents.
No, they do not get alerts when documents are uploaded.
Great. Question, should people upload each bank statement separately, or can they put all the bank statements into one upload under the financial documents?
I think they can put them all together. But
and
we can
is there any
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
We can also confirm and get back to you on that.
And when they're uploading bank statements, can you remind us, should they upload all pages, even if it's blank? Should they black out any confidential information?
So all documents uploaded should be uploaded in its entirety. So no section should be blackened out or crossed out. If it's 10 pages long, we should have all 10 pages, even if it has a blank page in between. They should be scanned and uploaded and not screen pictures. Sorry. They shouldn't be pictures. They should be scanned and sent in.
Great. A couple of people are asking questions about the file naming that Debbie had shared with us, and we've given numerous examples today in various screenshots and also in our various guidance. So the reason why we are emphasizing that is because it's really important for us all to use the same file name formatting on both the provider portal upload side and the coordinator of community services. So please, if you have not been utilizing the standard format, which is the document name followed by the last name, first name of the person, and the form date, please be sure to make sure you're doing that now. If we have any questions about information that's been submitted to us, we'll reach out to you. But it just ensures understanding by all users related to those documents, and we can easily identify those. Question about the file naming. Should it be in the name, the file name, or the comments? It should be the file name, and then you can add additional details in the comment section. But the file name that you upload the document you save on your computer and then upload it should have the file naming. Okay, just looking to see if there's any more. If a provider has prior approval to utilize a service implementation plan form from their own system, how should we ensure that the reviewers are aware of this? The service implementation form still needs to be submitted even if you use an outside system. So that still needs to be submitted to the coordinator of community services. As we're sharing today, that should be and can be submitted through the provider portal to speed up the person-centered planning process. So you'll want to utilize that and work with the coordinator of community services. There was a question about bank statements. If a person does not have their own account, can a joint account holder's information be blackened out? My understanding is no. You should not be blacking out any information, and would suggest exploring the person getting their own bank account in that situation so that the income can be easily distinguished between the participant and their co-account holder. If a provider uploads documents like the service implementation plan in the provider portal, do they go directly to the client attachment in LTSS? The answer to that would be no, it does not directly go to that. It becomes, it's.
Yes, it does. There is a section in the client attachments that is called provider documents, and anything that is uploaded in the provider portal shows up in the provider documents.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for clarifying that for me. So yes, if a provider uploads it, it will automatically go into client attachments, and coordinators can see that. Okay. All right. Getting some different questions. Are service implementation forms and detailed service authorization tools required for self-directed services? As per the SDS manual, a service implementation plan or a job description is required. A detailed service authorization tool could be used if the person is considering and working with a DDA provider for the supports. Debbie, is there a protocol for moving provider documents to PCP document section? Does this coordinator have to move all the documents to the PCP? Can you talk about what would be appropriate for provider uploads that should be included in a PCP?
Sure. So the documents that we would expect to see uploaded within the person-centered plan would be the service implementation plan, nursing care plan, behavioral plan, potentially any supporting documentation, a sleep chart, or additional stuff, person schedule, etc. So what the CCS could do is download the information from the provider documents and then insert them directly into the PCP.
Great, thank you. And one additional question, then we'll go to our caller or our hand raise. I'll leave this to any Megan, Linda, Debbie, can the system allow the person who uploaded it to discard the document if it was wrongly named in LTSS? So someone put the wrong name on when they uploaded. How can that be fixed or corrected?
Right now, the system will not stop someone from uploading a document with an incorrect file name format. That would require us to ask the system to do that. If someone has uploaded a document that they need to discard and they're unable to do it themselves, I would suggest that they reach out to their regional office for assistance.
Thank you, Megan. Dr. Smalls, can we go to our hand that's raised, and then we'll finish up the rest of the slides.
Cosette, you should be able to unmute yourself.
I think I unmuted. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you. Do you have a question about the client attachments?
Yeah, it's a follow-up on the statements. As a provider, we receive deposits for Social Security on the same account, and we normally provide a blackout for Social Security numbers for other clients, and also provide a statement from our accounting system which shows what was deposited and what they spend the money on. So I'm a little confused. This has been for years, so this is the first time I'm hearing that we cannot redact information.
Yeah, in order for the eligibility determination division to complete the Medicaid financial determination process, they need to verify all information, and therefore information submitted should not be blackened out. So this, we're talking specifically related to the financial redetermination process, and it would also apply for any new waiver applications because they have to verify income and assets, and they'll want to confirm all that information. So thank you for asking your question. Dr. Smalls, can we go to the next slide? So just going to review a few resources as we start to unwind a little bit here from our call. Can you go to the next slide? So this is our waiver amendment webinar series that we have been conducting. We started out with the Family Supports and Community Supports Participant Medicaid Notice webinar. We then conducted a webinar titled Waiver Changes in You, where we reviewed some of the key changes and highlighted what was new, in addition to some updates and reminders. We also issued at that time a document called Waiver Changes in You, and an easy read version that is available on our new webpage that we'll show you in an upcoming slide. We then shared information about new provider opportunities and requirements, and had a webinar where we talked about expansion of certifications or license under behavior support services and shift enabling technology certifications for our assistive technology, and also some reminders about the importance of renewing licenses and certifications and meeting those timeframes. We then conducted a webinar on self-directed services updates to include sharing information related to updates in the self-directed services manual and policy as per and associated with the amendment and input that we had received from the Waiver Advisory Council and other stakeholders. Wednesday, we conducted a webinar on new and updated forms that focus specifically on our self-directed services forms. And today we have conducted our LTSSMaryland updates webinar. This slide includes links to the direct presentations and webinars for the webinars we have done. The webinar from Wednesday and today will be coordinating with the department to get those webinars also on the DDA YouTube channel and also on the new dedicated waiver changes page. Next slide, please. We've been sharing, if you have questions, please reach out to the coordinator of community services or the DDA regional office. So depending on what your question is, there may be one person specifically you want to connect with, such as provider services, etc. So please reach out for questions and further assistance. Next slide, please. And we have been sharing for updates and more details. We encourage you to visit our new webpage, which is October 2025, Waiver Changes in You. So we've got a link on this page. It also is easily accessed through the DDA website homepage. So when you navigate there, if you look at the left panel, as shown on this slide, you can click on that link and it'll take you directly to it. We are continuing to update our website, various documents, forms, and guidance so that they're all in line with the amendment, including policies and policy stats. So we'll continue to make those updates and reflect them within our website and also in policy stat. Next slide, please. So as we continue to make those updates, additional forms and tools will be coming on live, and we will keep you updated in our DDA connection with information that comes to. So I see that we're at 1:30. We really appreciate your time today and joining us for the LTSS Maryland updates and your questions. If you have additional questions or need additional support, please reach out directly to us and your regional directors or regional offices, and their teams can help you. And we wish you a good day. Thank you.